Hi, and welcome back from the commercial break. We're now here with Frank and Fran on the couch. Hi, Frank and Fran. Thanks for joining us. Hi.
Pleasure.
A pleasure. The pleasure is mine. I have a couple of questions for both of you. I hope you don't mind.
No, go right ahead.
Well, I first would like to start talking about our stable names. It seems to be the way we're going today. So can we start talking about what your stable's names are? Frank, can we start with you, please?
The Captain's Bridge.
And how did you come up with that, please?
Well, the Captain's Bridge on a ship is the only place where only the captain is allowed to be. No one else may enter the Captain's Bridge.
That sounds like a fabulous place to me. Call me captain.
And you thought the commissioner was good.
We have an email in for Frank.
Is there an email?
Yeah.
Can someone please maybe read
May I read it?
No, please.
Did you know that the commissioner served in the United States Coast Guard during the Vietnamese conflict?
No, I did not.
Do you know what his rank was?
No, but you were going to tell me.
Yes, his rank was yeoman second class. What was your rank, sir?
The Captain's Bridge.
You were a captain in the United States Navy.
In the United States Maritime Service, graduate of the U.S. Military Academy at Kings Point.
Kings Point. Did you see combat? And you don't have to answer if you don't want to.
Yes.
In what theater?
Oh, okay.
In the Pacific Theater, in the European Theater,
You don't have to. I think so.
in the Caribbean. A lot of people pronounce that Caribbean,
Right.
but the Caribbean is accepted.
Were you involved in D-Day?
No, that would be, Navy ships and Army people. We were aboard ship.
Yes.
We carried cargo, both oil. I was on tankers.
Were you ever attacked by a submarine? Were you ever torpedoed?
I was never on a ship that was torpedoed, but we lost several in a convoy. The ships went in convoys.
Well, we thank you for your service to the country. Back in those days, the objectives were clearer than they are now. Now we're going to turn this the show and the ship back to Linda.
Thank you, Commissioner, who's making an appearance from afar. We have a question from one of the viewers. I hope you don't mind, Frank, but he would like to know if you also partook in looking into the portholes of the ships coming into shore, much like the commissioner did when he was on duty.
Well, there are female waitresses.
And that's a good answer.
No.
Good answer.
And the answer is yes.
Oh boy.
Okay, very good, Linda. You have a good memory.
If there's no more questions for the viewers, I'll ask Fran about her stable name. Would you like to tell us what your stable name is?
Well, it's called Stony Hill Farms because my cousin upstate has a horse and her street is called Stony Hill. A little
Oh,
corny.
that's clever.
Corny.
It's a horse and it's a street, and you put them
I
together,
put it
and it's a
together.
stable name, and I like it.
Thank you.
And I like you, Fran.
Oh, thank you.
Now, do you live close by, Fran?
I live about 4 miles away.
About 4 miles. So are you here on a daily basis then,
No,
would you
not
say?
a daily basis, but often.
Semi-daily basis, would you say?
Maybe monthly basis.
A monthly
Yeah,
basis.
yes, a
that
monthly
is
basis.
nice. That is nice.
May I ask you a question?
Oh, please do. I'm getting bored with myself anyway.
How did you get like roped into being the spokesperson?
I'm the godchild.
Oh.
I'm the godchild
Of the
commissioner. It's duty calls.
Another email has come in, Linda.
Has it?
Do you know why Antonio Cromartie is called the father of America?
Antonio Cromartie, also known as Columbus. I don't know.
No, he's a football player for the New York Jets.
Father of our country. What is he? Does he have 12 children?
12 children multiplied by a certain number, yes. So when I was saying that before, I apologize for not being more attentive. But
I think
I
you're
have
fine.
godchildren
Thank you.
across continents.
Continents.
Yes. I digress.
How did you acquire those?
They want,
Looking in portholes.
they trust me. Okay, I'm sorry for the
Okay.
interruption.
Not
Do you
at
have any other questions for the guests?
I do have a question for Frank. I think, again, a member of the viewing audience, more like the director, had a question about athletes that you've seen in person and who is the most famous or important athlete that you saw in person.
That's a good question. Well, when I was in school, I ran track, okay? So I was more oriented towards track and field than other sports. The most famous and impressive athlete that I saw was Glenn Cunningham. Does anybody know who Glenn Cunningham is?
I do. I'm a commissioner. I know who Glenn Cunningham
Very
is.
good, Commissioner. And he
you wanna share?
ran for the University of Kansas. When he was young, he had polio and his legs were virtually destroyed. But he came back and he ran actually the first 4-minute mile. I know you're going to say Roger Bannister, but Glenn Cunningham ran at Dartmouth on a banked track with 3 or 4 rabbits, if you know what I mean by rabbits.
Yes, of course. I'm a commissioner. I know what you mean.
Certainly, Commissioner, I didn't mean to insult you.
Well, the audience out there, some people, they're looking perplexed.
Yeah.
What-
Well, he Cunningham ran, but it was never accepted because of the conditions, the bank track, and at that time that was unusual, and also the rabbits. So it was not comparable to Bannister or Emmett Coghlan, the Irishman, later on, but it was still the first 4-minute mile. So that to me was the most impressive athletic.
Now, following up on Linda's question, what are some other famous athletes in the field of baseball, football, basketball that you had the privilege of seeing in person?
I saw Babe Herman, who played for the Brooklyn Dodgers when Casey Stengel was the manager of the Brooklyn Dodgers. Babe Herman played left field. He was an outstanding player, but he had one weakness. He was a drunken bum. And he would sometimes get out on the field and miss every fly ball that came his way. Now this gets a little raunchy at the end, and I hope everybody can accept it, all right?
Go ahead, Frank.
No, you're too anxious there.
Our ratings suck, Frank. Go for it.
Okay. Well, this one day, Herman missed every fly ball. They would come at him. He'd miss them by 8 feet and 10 feet because he was so drunk. Casey Stengel finally pulled him out, and he put another player in his place. The other player did just as poorly as Babe Herman. He missed each and every ball. And so Casey went up to Babe Herman and said, "You've got left field so fucked up nobody can play it." And that was the end of that story.
I see. Well, thank you for relating that. That was interesting.
I
Now
knew
that
you
will
would
be
like
on
it.
YouTube.
Well,
Later on, I'll tell you why I'm famous in Brooklyn at Ebbets Field and you're not. So that's for later. I'll tell you. Okay, Linda, back to your show.
Well, are we finished with the show? Are we done? Okay, at this point, thank you for joining us at the show. And obviously, our time has run out. We're being told by that very soft and lulling noise that we're hearing in the background. So thanks for joining us today, and maybe the commissioner will give us a word or two later.
Well, we have to have some other interviews later, yes. We're not finished.
Adios.
Oh,